Hello everyone, myself Shikha brought to you a new chapter from our literature reader New Broadway.
This video tells you the explanation of chapter number 5, the apple tree complex. The following extract is taken from Giovannino Guareschi's book The House That Nino Built. The author and his family have recently moved to the city of Milan to a house in the country. The extract describes how the members of the family, wife Margherita, son Albertino, daughter Carlotta called the Duchess, react to the changes. Extract means part. So this chapter is a part of the book The House That Nino Built, written by Giovannino Guareschi. It is a story about a family who has just shifted in a house of country from the city of Milan. Family includes Margherita as wife, Albertino as son, and Carlotta as daughter. Though Carlotta was the youngest member of the family, so everyone addressed her as the Duchess, or in Hindi Rani, okay, with love. So this chapter raises the questions like what would the feeling will coming inside you when you are away from your family, or you need to live away for much time from your home. So whom would you miss the most and why? Like parents, siblings, friends, your neighbor, your playing area, etc. So now we start the chapter properly by going through the text. Here we start the chapter. When I came home for lunch, I was surprised to find the Duchess absent from the table. Where is she? I asked Margarita. She's on a strike, said Margarita. It didn't make sense and I looked at her puzzled. Strike means refusal to work, or in Hindi we can say hartal. So story starts when the narrator came home for lunch, but he was wondered on not finding the Duchess on the dining table. Then he asked his wife Margarita about the Duchess. She told that the Duchess was on the strike, and the narrator did not understand the matter as his wife seemed puzzled or confused. She's up in the apple tree, Albertino explained. She stays there all the day and we send her food in a basket. She has a rope with a hook tied on the end of to pull it up. The strike's been on since yesterday. Now his son Albertino has arrived, and he told him about the Duchess, that she was on the apple tree for all the day and they sent food for her in a basket. A hook was tied in a rope to pull the basket up. So the Duchess was on the strike since yesterday. So in this stanza, we came to know that the Duchess was living with the family. Now, how the child get over the apple tree and why was she was on the strike, we get to know as we proceed to the chapter. What's all this? I asked, turning to my wife. Something like this has been going on and you didn't even call me up about it. If I were to call you up every time something out of the way happens, your telephone would be ringing all day long. Narrator asked his wife that what was the matter. This much was going on, and she did not even make a call to him and to tell about all these things. Then Margarita said that if she started calling him up about all the happenings throughout the day at home, then his phone would be ringing all the time, means so many things keeps on taking place at home throughout the day, that if she will start telling about everything, then he will not be able to get the time to complete his work in office. But what's the matter? What's the strike about? Margarita threw up her hand in despair. The tree's right there, Nino, she said. All you have to do is to take a ladder and go and see for yourself. Ladder means a series of the stairs, or in Hindi we can call naseni or siri, right? And despair means sad. Then narrator asked him that what is the strike for? Margarita moved her hand in sadness and she said to Nino. Nino is the name of the narrator, right? Giovannino Guareschi. So Giovannino, the later part of the Giovannino, that is Nino. So the short name is there for the narrator. So Nino is the name of the narrator of this story. And now the Margarita said to Nino to take a ladder and see himself that what's the matter over there. These lines shows that the narrator Nino wants to know the reason of why the Duchess was on the tree, but his wife told him to find out the matter himself. I went out and over to the apple tree where the Duchess was perched. Stop being so silly and come on down, I ordered. Instead of answering, the Duchess climbed up higher. I did not argue with her. I went back into the house. There I found Albertino putting food into a basket. Perched is called be seated. Then the narrator went towards the apple tree where the Duchess was seated, and then the narrator ordered her not to be silly and get down. Silly means mad. So Nino was saying to Duchess, don't be mad and get down. But at the place of answering him or getting down, she climbed higher on the tree. Looking at it, the narrator did not start and wanted discussion with her. So he went back and saw that his son Albertino was putting some food in a basket. No more of that, I told him. If she is hungry, she can come down and eat at the table. The meal continued. When we reached a coffee, a light began to dance on the wall opposite the window. Albertino got up and I asked him where he was going. Narrator told his son that no need of taking the food for the Duchess. When she felt hungry, she would come to eat here on the dining table herself. So that was the lunch time, and everyone was having lunch during the time of coffee in the evening. Means lunchtime now finished. At the time of coffee in the evening, they noticed that a dancing movement of the lights on the wall at the opposite side of window. Means the wall that was on the opposite side of window, on that wall he everybody noticed the dancing movement of the light. Looking at these moving lights, Albertino got up and the narrator asked him where he was going. That's the signal she makes with a mirror when she has something to say. A few minutes later, Albertino returned with the latest news. So Albertino answered that this is a light signal that the Duchess made whenever she had to say something. Actually, the Duchess was outside seated on the tree and the other family members were inside. So whenever she had to tell something, she made a signal of the light so that anyone inside the home, he or she came out of the home to listen to her. So after some time, Albertino returned. She says she hasn't had anything to eat since this morning. She is feeling so weak that she doesn't know how much longer she can hang on this branch. She is afraid that she may feel faint and fall. Here, the Albertino has brought the message from the Duchess that she was saying that she had not been eating anything since this morning, so she was feeling really weak. And at the same time, she did not know that till how long she is going to hang on this tree. So she was afraid that she might fall down because of the weakness because she hasn't eat anything since morning. Margarita's eyes opened wide, but I signed to her not to move. Take a long leather strap from the car in the garage to her, I told Albertino. Leather strap means belt made up of leather. So listening about the Duchess' hungerness, Margarita wanted to move to get food for her, but the narrator gave her a sign to not to move. Then he told Albertino to bring the leather strap of the car from the garage for the Duchess. The safest way is to wind it around her body just below the armpits. That way, if she feels tired this evening, she can go to sleep without fear of a fall. So, wind it is called to tie up, right? The narrator said that to let her feel safe, the Duchess needed to tie this leather belt around her body below the armpits so that whenever she felt tired, she could sleep on the tree without the fear of falling. So here we saw that instead of giving the Duchess the food, Nino took out a solution for her by which she could rest on the tree without having a fear of falling down from the tree.
Here are some new words from the text that will help you while explaining the chapter.
Albertino dashed off and later came back to report. She didn't want this trap, he told us. Margarita's eyes were as big as saucers. Dashed off means walked out, and saucers are like shallow plates in which we put the cup of the tea. So we say na cup plate. So that plate is called saucer here. That is very wide. So Albertino went out and returned with a message that the Duchess did not want to tie her up with the belt. Now here Margarita's eyes were as big as a shallow plate, means widen up. Why? Because she was getting worried about the Duchess. Before she could interrupt, I said, Albertino, there is a pile of brushwood in the yard. Go and spread a double layer of it all around the tree. That will cushion the shock and the fall won't hurt much. Pile means heap, or in Hindi we can call dher. Brushwood is the soft broken branches of the trees, and cushion here is used to protect from the shock for the Duchess. So Margarita wanted to say something, even after listening that the Duchess was not interested to tie her up with the belt. But before she could say anything, the narrator told Albertino that there was a pile of the broken branches of the tree in the open yard. He told him to spread a double layer of small branches around the tree, and those branches would work as cushion, right? And if the Duchess would move or fall down from the tree, she would not hurt herself much. Means those small branches would work as soft cushions for her if she fell down from the tree. 5 minutes later, Albertino came back, and behind him came the Duchess. She remained standing at the door. After a minute or two, I asked her why she didn't sit down at the table. So after 5 minutes, Albertino came back, and the Duchess too came behind him, but she stopped at the door. After a few minutes, the narrator asked her why she had not sit down at the dining table for lunch. So here we came to know that the Duchess, who was seated on the tree, now got down from the tree, and now she was inside the home. I'm waiting for certain people to go away, she replied. You're right, I said, there is nothing worse than bad company. I went on reading my paper, and 10 minutes later the Duchess had sat down and was eating her lunch. I left her alone for a while and then said, certain means definite or particular. Worse is the comparative degree of bad, means zyada bura, means more bad. Fine. When the narrator asked her why didn't she sit down on the dining table at the time of lunch, then she answered that she was waiting for some particular people to go away first. Then the narrator said that she was right, as no one likes to sit with a bad company. So he was talking about himself, because maybe he knew this thing that the Duchess was upset because of him. Then the narrator became busy in reading his newspaper, and after 10 minutes, the Duchess was having her lunch, and the narrator left her alone for that while. If you are planning to stay up in the tree, you will be better to take some supplies with you. There are tins of milk and meat in the cupboard. The Duchess continued eating silently, and then all of a sudden she began to sob. I turned to Margarita. Sob is called crying very softly. So after a while, the narrator asked her if she was planning to go back to the tree again. Then she could take some food like a pack of milk and meat from the cupboard. The Duchess was eating quietly her meal, and then suddenly she started crying a little. Then the narrator told Margarita about the Duchess, because when he saw that a little girl was crying before himself, then he warned that this is the time he should take help of Margarita. So finally the Duchess got down from the tree and had her lunch. Now what was the reason for which she climbed up the tree will be revealed soon. The child isn't well, I told her. We'll better call the doctor, and meanwhile you may as well take her temperature. Leave her alone, Giovannino, said Margarita. Don't forget she's a very sensitive little girl. Sensitive means get upset very easily by the situation, right? So the narrator told Margarita that the child was not well, and they should call a doctor, and till then she might take her temperature. Maybe she was having the temperature, because of that she was not feeling well. Margarita told Juan Nino to leave her alone as he should not forget that the little girl gets upset very easily. Here, Margarita was also showing her anger towards the narrator because the narrator was a little harsh toward the Duchess, right? Then Albertino explained it started yesterday morning when the postman brought her a parcel. It was a scrapbook from her teacher in Milan. There was a picture of her old school with a message written by the teacher. Scrapbook is a book made up of the colorful papers for doing any craft or any written work over there. When you have been given some project work now, so the book that you have used with so many different color pages, so that book is called scrapbook. I hope many of you already known about this. So Albertino explained that it was the incident of the previous morning when the postman brought a parcel for her. In that parcel, there was a scrapbook. Parcel means a courier, a box. Okay, so postman brought a box or a courier for or a packet, we can say, right? Packet for the Duchess. So in that packet, there was a scrapbook from her teacher in Milan, and in that scrapbook there was a picture of her old school with the teacher's message written on it for her. Every one of her old classmates had written something on the pages. When she opened the scrapbook and saw the picture and all those pages, she began to cry. I understand that, I said, but I don't see why she climbed a tree. So besides the message from her teacher, there was something also written on each pages of that scrapbook by her old classmates. And when she opened the scrapbook, she started crying after seeing all the pictures and memories and photographs of her old school. So here Albertino was telling the exact reason that what exactly happened with the Duchess that made her so upset. She went on a strike, Albertino explained. On strike, I said in surprise. A strikes to protest against injustice. But what's unjust about a group of schoolgirls sending a token of affection to an old friend? Protest means to oppose, या विरोध करना. Token is called a sign mark. So after knowing all this, the narrator asked that he understood all that, but he was unable to understand the reason that forced her to climb on the tree. Then Albertino explained that she had gone on a strike. Nino asked in surprise, why on a strike? Albertino replied that she was on a strike to protest against the injustice. But if a group of the old friends sent a sign of their sign or a token of their love for an old friend, then what is the unjust in this? Asked Nino. Means Nino was unable to understand even now that what was the exact reason that forced the Duchess to climb up on the tree. The Duchess raised her head. The injustice is that their old friend is no longer with them. She is here. I'm here too far away from the people I used to work with, but I'm not climbing any trees. Listening to this, the Duchess raised her head and said that all their old friends were not here with them, only she is here. Then Nino said that he is too far away from all of his friend, all those people with whom he used to work in Milan, but he did not climb up a tree. A little girl was saying about her feeling of heart, that why she was upset. So here a little we can understand from the story so far that the family had shifted to a new place and perhaps it made the Duchess upset. My tone irritated her and she began sobbing harder. He has taken everything away, she shouted. My friends, my teacher, my home. He had dragged me out of the city and brought me out here to a hut. I had all I wanted before and now I have nothing. Irritated is called when you are getting upset by something, right? Narrator's way of tone means the way in which the narrator was talking to the Duchess. It made the Duchess more upset and she began to cry more. And so in a crying and harsh voice, she was shouting is called speaking in very loud voice, that she took everything away from her friends, her teachers, her homes, and he pulled her out of the city. She was talking about Milan here, and brought her in this hut. She was having that she had all wanted, but now nothing was left with her. Here you have to ride a bicycle for miles to find even a newspaper, and if you want to see anybody, well, there are chickens and cows. As for pictures, there are only those ancient ones shown in the parish hall. There is no use of wearing good clothes because there is always 6 inches of mud outside. Parish means regional, means related to some area, okay? And ancient is called very old. So she further said that there one has to ride a bicycle for long to just get a newspaper and see who are your neighbors here, chickens and cows. If we talk about the pictures on the sceneries, that we have only the very old pictures that are there is they are talking or depicting about the regional or the something that is talking about that particular area, okay, and those pictures are hang on the wall of the hall. So if anyone wanted, then also she cannot wear. She could not wear the good clothes because they would be spoiled, as outside area is always covered with near about 6 inches of mud, right? So here the Duchess was talking about everything that she did not like about this new place where they have shifted. So here we can see that she was showing her anger, and she dislikes each and everything about this new place where they have shifted. If you want to roller skate, you can't do it on the pavement because it's made of paving stone, and even while you are walking, you may fall and break your neck. He's taken away everything, everything. I tell you, and then he says he doesn't know why I feel like climbing a tree. What does he care? Roller skate means shoes with the small wheels under it, and pavement is called footpath. So she further said in an unpleased or unhappy manner that if anyone wants to enjoy on roller skate, then he or she cannot do. Why? Because it is the pavement outside, and it was made up of stones on which it is very hard to even walk. Because anytime you may fall down, and while walking, even while walking, you may break your neck. Actually, for roller skating, one needs a flat surface, right? Flat and a smooth surface. But there was no such surface to even walk properly, as all the ways are made up of stones. So roller skating is not possible on the stony surface, and that's why she was showing her anger towards it. Then she again shouted by saying that he had taken everything from them, everything. And then she said, even after knowing all this, he says that he did not know that why did she climb on the tree. So she blames the narrator that what he cares of her. So in these lines, the Duchess showed her anger and blamed the narrator to be unknown about the reason that why did she climb on the tree. And she dissolved into an ocean of tears. I replied immediately, I still don't understand. I insisted. All these things that have been taken away from you have been taken away from your brother as well. But he doesn't seem to be sorry. Dissolved into an ocean of tears is a complete phrase that means cried a lot. So after sharing all her grief, the Duchess began to cry a lot. And the narrator replied quickly that he still did not understand the reason. Then he said that all those things that have been taken away from her had also taken away from her brother, but he is not showing any kind of reaction. So what? She replied, he's a man. As long as he gets all he wants to eat and drink, he doesn't care where he is. So the Duchess replied that it is no matter, as her brother is a man. He just want to eat and drink as long as he gets these things to eat and drink. He never cares about anything other or about where he is living. Your brother's needs are not so limited, I said, but he seems to be satisfied here. And don't forget, the country is good for your health. You look much better than you did in the town. The narrator said that her brothers also want to do many types of things. There were so many desires of her brother as well, but he is not showing any kind of dissatisfaction. He is satisfied here on living here. And you should not forget that the country's environment means they were living at the outside a country, outside area, so that environment is good for your health. And if I say that you looks far better living over there in the town. So here the Duchess was insisting to just make the counts of about the unhappy things about that place that was making her unhappy, and the narrator in contrast was explaining the benefits of living at that new place. I don't care about my health, the Duchess replied. What's it matter how well I look outside if inside I have a complex? Complex here mispronounced by the Duchess because she was a little girl. So right, complex meaning here complex or critical. Okay. So the Duchess speaks in a loud voice that she does not care about her health, for she cannot feel good or happy on looking outside when she feels very complicated or critical from her inside or inside her heart. So if she will be happy from her heart, only then she can feel good in outside world. It shows that the Duchess was not happy at all by her heart at that place. A complex, you mean? All right, a complex. What your wife gets when she feels all alone. Complex again here means the mental state which is not normal, right? So the narrator made her correct by saying that it is not complex. The correct pronunciation is complex. Okay. So then she asked what his wife. His wife means she was talking about her mother. So she asked that what his wife gets when she feels all alone at this new place. Listen, in this quiet, peaceful, beautiful country village, violets grow on the river banks. There are green trees, fresh, clean air, open skies, and bird songs. What more do you want? You don't get these things in the city. Now the narrator explains her about the new place they are living, where they were living right now. He says that it is a new, peaceful, and very beautiful country village where violet is a type of blue color. Violet is one of the color of rainbow, right? So violet color flowers grow on the side of the river, and they are the plant with blue or white flowers. Okay, so these type of flowers you can find with the plated means they are petaled flowers, very beautiful flowers. They grow at the bank of the river. Then he says that this village is full of greenery everywhere, so they can get fresh air, open skies, and then they can listen to the bird song, the natural song they can listen. What more cleanness, happiness, and beauty you want, as you cannot get all these healthy things living in the city. So here poet describes all the positive thing of the place to change the outlook of the Duchess about that place. But the Duchess didn't give up. You can't have them, that's true. But every time you think about them in the city, you say how wonderful. And here no one pays any attention, so they don't matter. Even after listening so many good things about that this new place, the Duchess did not take any positive things. And then she said that he was talking all these things, but he could not have them. And it's true, because when we were in the city, you always used to say that how wonderful about all these greeneries, having this beautiful natural environment. But here now we are living over here at the same place, the wonderful place according to you, but these things have no
importance for the people living here, so they all don't matter for me. Means the thing that you are not getting at a place, you always feel wonderful about them. But if you are getting all these things in abundance, then you stopped taking care, or you stopped understand the importance about these things. Okay, so the Duchess wanted to say that all these things that attract a person lost their importance when they are uh, very close to you. I decided that it was time to settle things once and for all. I gather your life here is unbearable. Now I would like to hear what your mother has to say. Margarita was turning over the pages of a magazine. Are you talking to me? So now listening all these, the narrator thought that now the time has come to settle down all the things according to everyone. So he said that he forcefully bring the Duchess' life here in an unbearable, unpleasant place. Now he would like to know what her mother think about it. Means after the Duchess, the narrator wanted to know the view of his wife about this new place. That time Margarita was busy in reading a magazine, and listening to him, she asked, was he talking to her? Yes, I would like to know what you think of this life. Does it suit you? I don't have any opinion. It's your decision. Very well, I get it. I said tomorrow the two of you can go back to Milan while I stay here. Then the narrator says that he would like to know what she thinks about this new place where they have shifted. Is this place suit her or not? So Margarita replies that she does not know anything about it, and to stay at this place is completely his decision. And then the narrator says that he understands everything. Now he decides that they both mother and daughter, they can go back to Milan, but he is going to stay here at the same place. So these lines shows that the narrator agrees on it, that his wife and his daughter are not happy staying at this new village, so he permits both of them to go back to Milan.
That evening after supper, I asked, are you off tomorrow? Margarita said, off where? Off to Milan. Don't be silly. I'm quite all right here. I would rather be here in silence than in Milan. Me too, said the Duchess. I turned to Albertino. What about you? I'm not suffering, he answered calmly. Supper is the dinner, the meal that we take at night. So when everyone was having dinner, the narrator asked Margarita, is she moving the next day? Moving where? Margarita asked. Moving to Milan, the narrator says. Then Margarita says that she is feeling quite well here, and she will prefer to live here in the peaceful environment than the noise of Milan. At the same time, the Duchess says that she too wants to be here. And then Nino asks Albertino, and what about him? Then he thinks that he was not having any kind of trouble over this place, and he is all right here. So we saw that how a little girl showed her unhappiness after shifting a new place, and at the end she agreed herself living at the place full of greenery and away from the noise of the city. So here the story ends. This story gives you a message as well, that everyone has problem living in a family, but through understanding one can find the solution of those problem in family itself. So the apple tree, which was really a complex, a critical to accept for the Duchess, now had become her family. With this we have completed this chapter. I am ending my video here. We'll meet soon.